Juggalos in recovery. Juggalos in recovery. Juggalos in recovery. Nobody has joined yet, which is fine, but this content will be there on YouTube. Today's topic was going to be about the 10th step. Make no mistake when I say that I am a 10th step recovery juggalo. I am in Juggalos in Recovery and AA, and I support both. So do not make any mistake about Juggalo in Recovery not supporting the AA steps. The story I had today was the long and short of it. Within the step 10, it says that whenever I am disturbed, there's something wrong with me. I, for the longest time, took issue with that. Recently, I had a issue that came up where somebody had done some wrong to me, and I was upset about this. And I felt like I had my rights to my opinions and my feelings, where I had this justified, like, kind of anger. That whole there's something wrong with me. That person did wrong to me, right? So how am I wrong? And I never really understood that, but going through the steps with my sponsor and getting guidance on this particular portion of it, it's not that there's something wrong with you. You can absolutely be wronged and be upset by this and still have your feelings. The part where there's something wrong with you comes in where how you respond to it and how you deal with the problem that it is. So, somebody does something wrong to you. If you were to lash out and be angry and make an enemy or hold resentments, that's where you're wrong, and that's where there's something wrong with you. All right, we have somebody joining. Awesome.
Hi, just so you know, people are going on about it being late and it's not live. I was just actually told that by someone I was on the phone with, that they were wondering why it's 1:30 and it's not live and it's not popping up on their end. Just to let you know.
Yeah, live. I can't do live for 30 days because of Facebook. But the meeting
Uh-oh.
is, yeah. So
Okay,
I
well,
posted
someone
that.
that looks on Facebook actually was wondering about it because it didn't pop up on their end, so I'll just have to let
Yeah,
them know.
yeah. Let them know that I posted a link earlier. They can go to that. Yeah, it's on time. It's just I can't go live, so I was just going on with my story and recording some content for it. But yeah, if you want to get back to them, let them know the meeting. I'm just hanging out here. So, but how are you? Are you doing better?
I feel like I'm dying still, but
Oh
doing
no.
somewhat better. I figured
Good.
out how to figure out my nonsense of a freaking apartment and how I have shit blown up everywhere and some of it's hard to go through. But I've been figuring it out.
Yeah. What's up, dude?
I just got done jumping out of a fucking plane.
Nice skydiving.
Yeah, I'm still here with a whole bunch of people from my home group. I didn't even get to enjoy the
That's awesome. Yeah, Josie's here. I was just kind of going into my story and whatnot because it was like 10 past, and so that's cool, man. How was it? Is that your first time jumping or what?
No, this is my second time.
Yeah, nice.
Ralph, Janelle, that's Mel,
There's Tyler. There's JoJo. There's Corey. There's Carmine.
Nice. Very cool. Well, right on, man. Yeah, I was just telling Josie I can't go live for another like 30 days. So people were wondering where the live was at, but I don't have live right now. So.
I just seen what time it was, and I was like, oh, the Juggalos and is on. I'm like, let me fucking jump in there.
Hell yeah.
The bathroom. And lit a cigarette.
Well, what I was talking about is like within the step 10, it tells you that whenever I'm disturbed, something's wrong with me. Right. And so I kind of like for the longest time took issue with that particular step because, you know, if somebody does wrong to me and I'm disturbed by it, like how is that fucking something wrong with me, right? But, you know, working with my sponsor and working with the steps, I realized that it's not something wrong with me. Necessarily. It's depending on how I respond to it and how I react is when something becomes wrong with me in that particular step. So that's just all I was talking about. It's just that it's not that necessarily something's wrong with you. It's depending on how you how you deal with it and how you respond. That's when the step 10, there's something wrong with you. When you are disturbed. So.
Well, I mean, I know there's something wrong with me.
Yeah, I mean, come on. We wouldn't be here if there wasn't anything wrong with us.
And I was and there's a lot wrong with me, I'd say. And I would say, how do I get my hair to be freaking not red anymore and all freaking blonde? Because it's annoying. I did bleach my hair last night, by the way. That was a bad idea to do by myself.
Oh no. Well, I don't know. I thought bleaching it would make it blonde for you, but I don't know anything about
that. I did use the bleach that I was told not to use that doesn't work that well, so that could be factored into it, but that's okay.
Yeah. And is that what's wrong with you today? Is your hair upsetting
My hair
you?
is upsetting me really bad because it's multiple colors. There you go.
Just dye it like super jet black and the problem will be solved.
No, I'm not. I can't go black again because once you put black in your hair, it doesn't come out. I still got freaking black in my hair. That's my problem when I freaking bleached it, is the black came out again. So I legit look like a tiger with my hair. Because it's already got all those colors in it that you're gonna say. I want it to be a different color completely. It was gonna be blue, but apparently not anymore because my hair doesn't agree with it.
D, you still have hair, right? Maybe you can lend some advice. I have no hair. I
still have hair, and I just tried to get all the red out, and I still have just a tiny bit in. So I used bleach, but then I had to go get shit from Sally's and get an actual real developer and shit and do it again. So
do y'all just use like Clorox bleach or what?
No, not that kind of bleach. Hair dye.
I have no idea. That's maybe why I don't have any hair.
So I'm thinking of so the 12 steps of Juggalos in recovery. The step 10 is when we realize we fucked up, we fix our fuck ups basically, right? And step 10 I'm thinking about, and DAA whatever is basically the same thing. We directly make amends whenever promptly, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I know what you were talking about. That's acceptance is the answer, right?
Yeah, it's also written in step 10. Like it's also like it's a blurb in there. But yeah, it's exactly.
Yeah. All right, brother. Love y'all. Love you too. See you next weekend. Yeah, but usually, like, right when I'm having somebody that's disturbing to me, it's because I was that person or dealt with people like that in my addiction, and that's where the disturbance comes from, right?
Right.
And like you're saying, it's how you act and react. If I can change the way I feel or react to a situation or come with more acceptance or understanding or compassion of the other person, it tends to not disturb me so much. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Which is the hard part because that's like growing and changing and doing stuff that we normally don't do.
Right. Yeah, good point on the compassion part, right? So like, if somebody's acting a certain way, like they're obviously upset or whatever about something. So it's kind of having that compassion or that, that understanding that maybe they're sick too and maybe they're having some problems. And you know what I mean? There's a lot of compassion. I've been lacking that shit in my life lately. Um, and going to my meetings for AA and this one and all that, it really helps to get a perspective on things, man. It like, um, yeah, for sure. I went to my AA meeting yesterday and I go every Saturday to it, and it's just a recharge for me. All these meetings are, I come in and I'm able to like just look at things from a different perspective. I work from home a lot. I don't go out very often, just because I work from home and I live in the boonies in the middle of nowhere. So it's really good to get out and get that recharge, talking to other people and really, you know, um, just getting a new perspective. Like I said, that whole, there was something wrong with me, that kind of really pissed me off. Is like, why is there something wrong with me? But, I come to understanding that that's not what it means necessarily. I mean, obviously, like you said, like we said, there's a lot of shit wrong with us, but, it's just all how we deal with life, dealing with life on life's terms, right? That's part of the other parts of, the readings and the stuff that we kind of repeat to ourselves, is dealing with life in life's terms, taking everything one step at a time. I mean, that's the whole essence of the program. I was telling somebody in in my AA meeting the other day, yesterday, Saturday, is that I think if the world, like whether you're an addict or not, if the world mastered step 10, uh, our our world would be such a better place to live in, right? Because you're taking that inventory at the end of the day, you're putting your shit out on the table and then apologizing for what you did wrong, and like trying to make those amends like real time with the people in your lives. Like, how many people are out there not doing any of that and then just like doing wrong to people and just doing what they do. So super important step. Like I said, I think it's important for everyone to master step 10 for sure. Looks like Josie's trying to fix her hair again. Did you figure something out?
No, I wasn't trying to fix my hair this time. I was trying to put something on underneath the shirt and underneath everything else. I was trying to tie my bikini top, if you really wanted to know, with a pen in my mouth and not flashing when on a live at the moment, because I'm not gonna.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you that you sound a lot better now, even though you're still sick. You
I
sound like you're
gagged
doing
on
much
water.
better.
No, but there's a problem. I gagged on water last night and it went down the wrong hole and then came back up and went on my foot and in my ear and in my nose and everything else. And someone has that on a Snapchat, which I feel like an idiot for. I fucked up with that. You can't fucking chug water that fast when you're sick.
Chris, what's up, dude?
I made it. I just I fucked up on the time. I thought it was in like another hour.
Oh, good, man.
Man.
All good. And I can't go live. I'm telling everybody I can't go live, so you probably didn't see it pop up on your live because
Yeah.
another 30 days in the freaking slammer on Facebook.
What did you do?
It says I violated some shit, right? And then it says CY. So I click on CY and it says we can't display this information because it was like from 3 years ago. And I'm like, okay. So I put in a dispute, right? And I'm like, I need to, fuck this. This is like, And then they sent me a thing back. We don't have enough people to review our disputes. Something about like, even though we can't review it, we can't restore your thing either. So they just left it. And it's weird. It's like I can't go live, I can't join a call, and I can't advertise. It's not even like a real ban. It's just like 3 random.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
that's fucking weird.
right. I don't know, man.
I don't get it.
I run a shit posting site, and all we do is just post a bunch of garbage and memes and stuff. So it's probably some stuff that I posted a while back that no
Dope.
longer. Yeah.
I mean, that's what kept happening to me, which is why I kind of stopped posting on Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm few and far between anymore. I just have that site, and, I don't know. It's dedicated to my friend who took his own life a while back. So I kind of keep it running for everybody. And, it's sentimental
Yeah.
to me and stuff. But yeah.
No, I dig it. You
Yeah.
do you, man.
Yes, sir. Well, we were
Fair
talking about basically just step 10, man, and like kind of the nuances of it. You're making your amends as you go along. There's a portion written in it that I was talking about when somebody, when I'm feeling disturbed, there's something wrong with me, and I never really liked that because
Mhm.
why is there something wrong with me if somebody else did something to me, And basically what it comes down to is just how you deal with it or how you handle that particular situation. If you handle it poorly and you're disturbed by it, then obviously there's something wrong with you because you're not handling it very good. You're still entitled to your feelings and stuff. And then D and Josie pointed out that there's lots of stuff wrong with us. So like, yeah. So there's lots of shit wrong with us. That's why we're here. But yeah, that's where we're at. So, do you have any thoughts on step?
So I didn't have many amends to make. Like, obviously, there were people that were hurt by my extreme usage of drugs and drinking that I apologized to, but I never went out of my way to harm people. It was more so I apologized to the people that I ended up supplying drugs to.
Yeah, in the step 10, the essence of it too is you take your daily inventory, and then you kind of make your like daily amends, admit where you're wrong, right? So like I promptly admit where I'm wrong. Like, so you just do that daily and you make that list and kind of see who you might have harmed throughout your day, and then
Yeah.
try to like fix that the next day. So it's like a working list as well. Yeah.
And as long as I've been doing this, I'm still really fucking bad at remembering what the steps are.
Yeah, man, it's all good. And then I don't ever remember the exact wording and stuff, but it's always, it's always there. But step 10, what I was telling these guys is that I think step 10 is super important. Even if you're not an addict or an alcoholic, like if everybody in the world like did their inventory, right? And everybody did their inventory and made their amends to people that they might have done wrong to, we might be in a better place as a world, but
Agreed. If everybody took the time to realize what they did was harmful to other people, we would live in a much better society.
right. 100%. And so like the other part of it, I made amends I did my step 9 where I made amends to some people, and it all went pretty well. There was a couple people that told me to go fuck myself, and that's fair. I earned that. But also you got to remember, like, so as you're going through, you can't get offended by that. That's just that's their take on it, and you did them wrong, and they're not actively working anything. They're just they're those people that never admit when they're wrong. They never do this and that, and your side of the street is clean to say, to quote another quote in the steps is my side of the street is clean. I tried to make my amends, and if they are not willing to admit, maybe they're wrong in it, or whatever, that's kind of on them. Is at the end of the day, it's on them. They're holding their resentments. They're pissed off. Half the world doesn't even realize that they're doing something wrong, and if they do, they're not going to admit it. So I don't know about half the world, but a good percentage. So
I mean, I feel you. Like, I think me and Chris, and then me, a lot of my like friends, like the group I was just with, say it all the time. Like, if people that didn't have alcohol or drug addiction were to still take the principles of any 12-step program and actually put them to use, like, the world would be a better place. People would be better. Like, because you can literally apply this process to anything, because what it is really is just, it's a way to live life with,
Yep.
and be a better person. That's what it is.
yeah, for sure. Anthony, welcome.
Hey, I just barely got up, so I was halfway sleeping, but I see I made it for the last. Sounds like you guys are talking about step work today.
Yeah, we're just working, looking at like step 10, and just talking about different parts of it and whatnot. But yeah, step 10 mainly. I did a little story of where somebody kind of like did me dirty, and I was pissed off. And part of that step is you got to go through your inventory and kind of figure out where you went wrong. And part of it's like, if I'm disturbed, there's something wrong with me. And I didn't necessarily agree with that for a long time, but like, it was how I was handling it is where I was wrong. Like, I was pissed off. I was letting it get to me. I was letting it get to my family, my family around me. And so in that situation, yeah, there was something wrong with me because of the way I was handling, the shit that goes wrong. The other thing I didn't add is, life's going to come at you, and it's going to come at you hard sometimes. And if you don't handle it right, yeah.
Why are you gonna talk about it coming at me hard? Because I'd say, yeah, it came at me hard because now I painted rocks inside on my table and somehow painted the paper to the table and can't get it off, and some of the rocks are stuck to the table. So yeah, another Josie fucked up by herself because she's bored and painting shit inside to not get people sick, and it's too snowy and cold outside.
So yeah, okay, that's a good point, right? So that's something like small that happened to you that you're, upset about, and you have to deal with like how to fix it, right? So for me, those inanimate object problems that I have like make me want to smash shit like the Hulk, right? And like,
Yeah, I
so
stubbed my toe, so I want to break my knuckle. I got that same issue.
exactly, like, what the fuck am I doing, right? So at that point, there is something wrong with me because I want to break some shit. Um, So yeah, you just going back, that's just how you deal with it, like, how are you gonna deal with that situation without getting upset? Because when I got upset, when I was using, like, my solution was to fucking use and drink. Like, I'm pissed off. And then it got to a point where I was really in my thing where it's like, I'd be pissed off and I would use. And I'm like, oh, sweet, I'm happy. Fuck yeah, I'm gonna use now, like, I just made a reason for it all the time. But being pissed off was one of the reasons. When I was upset or sad or anything happened, I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna drink. It's gonna make it better. And it never did, never did.
No,
Any
it never
thought?
really does, but we'll convince ourselves of that.
Yeah.
Kind of the same thing.
Any thoughts around that inanimate object rage?
No, I kind of always thought it was pretty silly. I'll stub my toe, get something very minor, and then want to go break my knuckle and fuck my hands up or something. Yeah, I got that same issue. I'm working with it. I thought it'd be better to get myself a punching bag so I can just like let out the anger, but I've been training myself. That punching bag's not always going to be there, so we need to find better ways to deal with our anger. So I'm kind of getting a little better at that the last few days. That's been an issue for me in the past. I've scared my neighbors freaking out on my walls.
Good point. Yeah, that's a really good point.
Well, it's one of those things that we talk about ad nauseum is the idea of coping mechanisms in ourselves. Most of us just don't have the ability to cope without drugs or alcohol. And we don't learn them shits until well after we've gone through the process of getting sober. And so it makes sense that we have this extreme rage or extreme emotional reaction to these slight things because we have no other ways to really express ourselves.
Right. Like I'd be working on my house, and something goes wrong and I fucking throw the hammer and destroy something else. Like obviously not a good coping mechanism, and it caused more problems that I have to fucking now fix. Um, so a better coping mechanism for me now is and I've been working on this because it's like, something happens and then my immediate reaction is like, fuck, what the fuck, and I'm really just like, but like just to take a step back, before I even say anything. It's like, okay, what do I do now? Like, what do I do next? Because yeah, that punching bag, like you said, it's not going to be there all the time. Um, you know, it's not going to be like in my car or like chilling with me at work. Like it's got to be something that I can deal with real time. Um, there's a restraint of tongue and pen, it says in step 10 in there, and I forget exactly what it says, but when I'm at work and whatnot, it's another example. If I'm writing an email where I'm angry, I'll usually write out the email about like my situation. I'll just write it out, and then I won't send it. I'll just read it back later, and I'll just kind of think on it before I even try to send the email. Because yeah, maybe that person deserves a shitty email or just an email explaining whatever the process is, or whatever it is. Maybe they need an email, but it doesn't need to be angry. It just needs to be carefully worded and worded in a way where it's not showing my what's disturbing me or what's wrong with me. It's just got to be factual, and so that's another way, just writing things down. Um, for step 10, that the one of my sponsors was telling me that he has been keeping a journal every day. He'll write in his journal in the morning and at night. And he's been keeping it for like 23 years. And he said that's one of the things that helps him. Like he'll just go to his journal and start writing. And if he can't think of anything to write, he writes, I can't think of anything to write. And all that really does for him is creates this routine of like, if something's going on, to start writing. And for him, writing shit down is a release of that like urge to like break something or urge to lash out or write a shitty email or whatever. So I have ordered me a journal because I'm going to try it. I think writing shit down is awesome. I try to do it on my phone, but it's not the same. Like type shit out, it's not the same as writing it for some reason for me. So I'm trying to get me a journal.
I mean, the idea of having to take the time to prepare to write something is to put a little bit more action behind it. And I think that has a little bit greater impact when it comes to expressing how you're feeling at that exact moment because you have to put thought into it. It's not just reactionary. So that's definitely beneficial.
Right. Dee, I know you're traveling. What are your thoughts on the whole journaling and coping mechanism?
I would lie to you to say I journal. I'll put it that way. I would lie to you to say that I write a nightly inventory every night. I don't. When I fuck up, I just handle it so I don't have to write an inventory. It's not too hard if I'm promptly admitting. It doesn't say, when we fuck up, we fix our fuck up tomorrow. It says when we fuck up, we fix our fuck ups and quit fucking up. We promptly admit. I mean, in that moment, as soon as you recognize your defects are blaring or you fucked up, it's time to own your shit and clean your side of the street. If I'm doing that, I really don't have too much to write an inventory, because I already identified where I was wrong and handled it, right? And I can't. It says not in what we have, but it says in the book like I don't have the benefits of having the brainstorm or the grouch or any of that, right? Like I can't hold on to shit. I can't stew on shit. I can't do shit like that. When I do shit like that, it never turns out good. So I try to stay out of my head, keep my shit clean, and handle shit in the moment. That way, every day goes smooth, and I'm not perfect. I have my moments, but like, I'm kind of like literally just a go with the flow person, handle stuff as it pops up, and when something's not right, handle it right then instead of wait for it, And that's the easiest way I found to handle things, you know. Early sobriety, I tried to journal and stuff, but you know what? I don't harbor a bunch of resentments. I don't hold on to a bunch of shit. In the grand scheme of life, most of these little tiny things that people fixate on, or the drama, or their issues, ain't really anything else. If
Right.
I'm not letting a whole bunch of little shit personally affect me, I don't have to worry about it. If I'm not being a piece of shit and lying, manipulating, cheating, doing all this kind of stuff, then I really don't have anything to inventory about, you know?
That's a good point.
So,
Yeah.
point of
Agreed.
working a 12-step program, part of it is to recognize your flaws. Whatever ones you can turn into assets, you do, and the rest of it you try to quit living in those flaws, you know? You try to fix those defects or to not use those defects, right? So when I'm working a decent program and I've recognized those things, getting rid of those bad traits that are no good for me, because, you know, I'm a business. I'm getting rid of that kind of shit and working on the good shit. Like, I don't have a whole bunch of shit to sit there and talk about, you know. And if I go through the steps every year. I don't have a whole bunch of resentments. It gets surprisingly tinier and tinier and tinier and tinier. And if I still have resentments 4 or 5 years in, that's some deep-rooted shit that I just don't want to let go. And that's usually like mom, dad, sister, brother, wife, shit type shit. That's the type of shit that's going to always pop up because it's deep-rooted, you know?
Right.
And I know I can't stay sober doing scumbag shit, so it's not like I'm building a big 4-step, you know what I mean, throughout the year. If I'm still doing scumbag shit, nothing's changed besides I'm not drinking and drugging.
Right. Yeah, I find when I do my 4-step, I try to do it every year or every couple years. When I do that 4-step, it's smaller and smaller, man. I mean, there's, like you said, that I'm not doing the shit that like if there is anything really on my list, it's stuff that's like old, you know, like you were saying, just something that maybe I don't want to deal with or I'm having trouble addressing, you know. The daily stuff, you know, like for me, my inventory, and I don't do like a daily one. Like I said, I'm ordered up a journal to write some of the shit down, but like if I like snap at my kid, because you know, my emotional sobriety still isn't like as solid as I want it to be. Like if I snap at my kid or I snap at my wife or some shit, I'm going to write that down. But I usually handle it right on the spot, you know, like, hey, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to fucking yell at you or whatever. You know, that's powerful for me because I used to never even recognize I was doing it. I used to just snap. Like if I was Josie and I painted my rocks to my table, I'd fucking lose my shit and yell at my family. And I wouldn't even recognize I was doing it. You know, and then they would remember that. They would never forget. And like there's shit I've done they still haven't forgotten about, but I've apologized for it and you know done my amends and whatnot. But yeah, that's super important to remember too, that as you go along your list should be smaller and smaller and easier to handle.
What are you selling, Chris?
I was just gonna ask that.
Just patching a couple new holes on my jacket. I just have a bunch of leather that has to go on there now. So filling in all the holes. Let me put a pin in it and I'll show you.
Is that a giant leather needle?
Yeah, just big old flap. There's a big stupid hole underneath there. So just trying to finish it up so I can not feel the breeze and the wind.
Yeah, it was pretty chilly here before that, 14,500 feet.
Are you getting
How
a
did
cold?
that go?
Say what?
How did the skydiving go?
Oh, it was super fresh. I'm waiting for the video to get sent to me and a whole bunch of pictures and stuff. We went yesterday, but on the ground, the wind was 17 to 20 miles per hour all day, so we got canceled. And a few people didn't come back today, but the rest of us just rescheduled for today. So there's a whole bunch of people from my home group that came out. And, there were one of the instructors was from Ohio, and he's like, "Oh, what's up, Juggalo?" Like, I'm wearing my jersey and shit. I'm like, "What's up, homie?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm taking a whole bunch of up in Ohio." And he's like, "There's this guy that used to jump there all the time too, and he had a skydiving suit that was covered with nothing but hatchetmen." And I'm like, "Yeah, Clown Town up there. I bet you there is a bunch of them up there. I'm like, it's a little different down here." But he's just down here making money, for a little while doing jumps in Ohio. So pretty fresh. Bonding
That's
experience
super
with all
fun, man.
all
Glad you went out and did that.
bonding experience with all the, my people here that are in my network down here.
Anthony, where are you located at?
I'm up in Humboldt County in California, about 2,500 feet up.
Very nice.
He's on an island. He's on an island right now.
Pretty much, yeah. There's one highway in and out of here, and it's flooded on both sides, so our mountains turned into an island. I guess all of California is about to get swallowed by the Pacific.
They've been talking about that since I was little. You guys going into the ocean.
Well, we've been having nonstop. They're calling them hurricanes. Like, they're not like your guys' hurricanes. Our hurricanes don't hold a flame to fucking Florida. Don't get me wrong, but we don't have hurricanes. We've had like 3 hurricanes just keep whipping the West Coast and fucking flooding everything out. We don't have hurricanes. We don't know what to do.
And tornadoes, right? Some sort of tornadoes have been hitting there.
Yeah, they had a tornado warning in the Central Valley the other day, of all things. What the hell? Yeah, we'll figure it out. I got a whole bunch of appointments my daughter was going to come up and visit me next weekend, but I don't know if I'll be able to go down and see her. I might get stuck on the mountain.
Well, when you guys do go into the ocean, I'm going to look forward to the TikTok videos with the Titanic music before you all go down.
Yeah. I think we're pretty good where I'm at. I'm about 3,000 feet. I just think we're kind of turning into an island. I'm going to have to start getting boats.
Yeah, crazy. I'm up north of you. I'm north of Seattle. So we've been getting some wild weather, but it's nothing like you're experiencing. We got some flooding and shit, but it's kind of normal for our area.
Yeah, it's been a weird one this year.
Yeah, for sure.
And then with 3 years of drought and then coming into flood like this, like all of our food source, we make most of the fruits and nuts for the entire world here in California. Not anymore. Can't grow fruits and nuts underwater.
Nope.
So we'll see what's going to go on with food prices. I'm worried it's going to make inflation get way worse. Everything's going to start getting up there.
Looks like we got someone else join in. Let's see. Andrew, welcome to the meeting.
What's up?
Not a whole lot, man. How are you today?
Tired as fuck.
Yeah. Well, we were just we've been talking about step 10, making that active inventory, kind of how we deal with shit as it comes up. Is there something wrong with us when we deal with these particular situations, or it's all in how you deal with a situation. You have any experience with the steps yourself?
I'm only been getting like 8 hours of sleep a day. I don't know what kind of dog I have, but she's been being a pain in the ass. I think I have a miniature pit bully, but day nights, it's hard to clean up after her.
Yeah.
I woke up last night, my house shredded with trash.
Why is that? With trash.
I because my little pup does.
Oh, yeah.
She's kind of like my kid, but at the same time, she does not like the mailman for some reason. So first thing in the morning, she'll charge at the gate, bark at him, and then she'll run around. Like my sister has her twin. We each got 2 miniature pit bullies, but mine is a little bit bigger than my sister's, and I I do not like working with certain breed dogs. It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially, I've competed in a air dog show, and I didn't even get to get a cup of coffee. I literally had to go down, hang up, and then get ready for competition. And we were at this campsite, and we stayed in the hotel, from the hotel to the campsite, and then Sunday or Saturday morning we jumped on the highway and head back home. And we stopped because I guess right next to where we stopped there was the airport, and we watched the United States Coast Guard come in with their Jayhawk 60 helicopter, and it flew right above us to the airport.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to actually stand on top of my buddy's van to watch, and it was amazing.
Yeah, that sounds cool, man.
I've growing up as a kid, I lived right next to the airport and watched planes come and go, and I wanted to get into aviation, so I signed up with the military program. I was about 16 or 17 years old. Didn't know a lot about electronics, and the first time I actually got into an airplane and flew all the way to New Jersey, and then all the way back from New Jersey to Detroit Airport, and it was scary as fuck. Like that was my first time being on a plane, and I've never actually flew. Most of my family have been the ones to get on planes. Me, uh, I like to keep my feet on the ground.
Yeah, no doubt. We just D here on the meeting just went skydiving, so he was not keeping his feet on the ground today.
Damn.
Hey man, that was my first time in 4.5 years. I got high.
Damn.
Nice.
There is,
It's the only way I'll get high now is if I did that. Yeah.
Hey, second time because New Year's Day last year I was skydiving too. So
Yeah.
hey, the adrenaline rush starts running through your arms and your body, and the first time I got into a commercial jet, and holy shit, I've never had so much seat force slam me in the back of my seat.
Well, Andrew, yeah, we're talking. So today we have step 10 on our agenda. Do you have any experience with the steps, or are you in any sort of certain days in recovery?
I am in therapy because my dad was an abusive alcoholic,
Right.
and I went through a house fire also, and I ended up getting diagnosed with PTSD. I suffered from nightmares and flashbacks.
Oh, okay.
And in high school, I ended up almost beating the shit out of my cousin. Because he kept fucking with me, and I wanted him to leave me the fuck alone. And I ended up having to scream loud as I possibly could for my teacher to come out. And my teacher sent me home and told me to just take a day off, a couple of days, how many ever days I needed. And I ended up getting in therapy and went through a lot of shit.
Yeah, man. Well, therapy is a good start. You're in the right place. We have a lot of people who join our meetings who maybe aren't necessarily, involved in the steps yet, or they're in some sort of other therapy for mental health
Yeah.
or PTSD. So that's awesome, man. You're in the right spot for sure.
I tell a lot of people because my goddad, well, I don't call him goddad that much because he has a thing for my mom. And my mom's man that sleeps downstairs wants to kill the dude badly. Because a couple years ago, his daughter ended up hooking up with my cousin. And she got her stuff and left the next morning, not telling her dad where she was going. Her dad freaks the fuck out, comes to me and goes, "Can you help me find my daughter? She's missing." And I'm like, sure. And I ended up going and entering her number, and it took about 20 seconds to pinpoint her location where she was at. My cousin ended up getting the shit beat out of him. And me and my cousin, we don't see eye to eye anymore after he did some shit to a girl that I knew that was my classmate. And night after night when I'm sleeping, I can hear her calling my name. And it scares the shit out of me because sometimes I wake up and wonder if it's a fucking dream or if it's real life reality.
Right. So, kind of along the lines of what we're talking about as far as like handling that or like dealing with that. So like, how do you deal with that when you have those dreams or you have those like, feelings like when they come up? Like what have you been trying to do?
I've been kind of talking about it to a therapist.
Yeah. That's good.
And sometimes I'll smoke a cigarette to kind of calm my nerves down because being diagnosed with PTSD, it's kind of a hard thing.
Right.
Because going through a house fire, I couldn't grab any clothes. I just went in my boxers, and as my house was going into flames, and I was like, fuck it. I grabbed what I could, blanket sheet, grabbed my winter boots, put them on. Well, my grandfather didn't have any clothes. I didn't have any clothes, so I was like, fuck it. I went and gave my boots to my grandfather, and I ended up standing in the snow for about 30 seconds. They got me and my family in the back of the ambulance, and I ended up having third-degree frostbite on my feet. And it took them putting hand warmers on my feet to warm my feet back because my feet were turning purple.
Right.
And it took night and morning for the fire department to put my house out. And from what I know, The house, it still smelled like smoke, and when I touched the wall, it literally brought flashbacks, and it took me back to
Yeah.
where it started.
Right.
And
Well, I think that, you know, talking to a therapist is definitely a huge, absolutely right move to do. You know, those flashbacks and whatnot that you get, or the dreams that you see definitely need to be, you know, worked through. You know, because,
yeah,
you know, obviously a dream's not real, you know, and so to differentiate between that and reality, you know, I mean, it's going to be super important. Um, Kind of to close this out here, for the meeting, does anybody want to share anything around the PTSD mental health portion of it? Of what else maybe he would be able to do, beyond the help of a therapist?
If I could, I also suffered from PTSD for a while. I just
yeah,
recently did some, I told you about, I was doing some fourth and fifth step work type of stuff, not actually working through the steps, just doing this naturally. I spent a year taking a real look at myself, all of my bullshit, all the ugly, all the good, all the stuff that's traumatized me throughout my entire life. And instead of re-shoving that shit, and don't get me wrong, this is hands down the most traumatic experience of my life. I had to face each and
yeah,
every single one of those fucking things. And I went batshit crazy for a year and I pushed away all of my friends. But when I got through facing all of that shit, all that traumas, all that shit just fell off me. If you had asked me 2 years ago, I would have told you, fuck you, traumas are for life. But no, you can put the work in that and face that, however ugly and however fucked up it is to look at that. And you can get past those traumas. I've been able to do that. And if you
right.
want something simpler, they used to have me on Seroquel for the night terrors. Actually helped me a lot not having any dreams. You might want to talk to a doctor about that because I couldn't do any work when I couldn't sleep.
They put me on a medication, because I stopped taking the medication because I told my doctor that the medication wasn't working to help me fall asleep. So they started me off with injection shots, and then my doctor gave me the green light to go and get my COVID shot next, let's say 11:30 in the night. My throat and my tongue were swelled up, and I
Damn.
couldn't breathe. I couldn't fucking even lift my tongue. And I'm sitting in the waiting room trying to flag a doctor down, and he's just looking at me and posting thumbs up. And I pointed to my throat, and I ended up having to call my mom. And my mom's sitting there screaming at the doctor, "Fucking do something!" And they actually get me over to the checkout aisle, and they said, "Stick out your tongue and say ah." And they realized my tongue was like the size of my fucking thumb, swollen huge. Turns out I'm actually allergic to penicillin.
That's a big one.
Uh, fucking, I thought I was gonna die and not be able to see my family or my nieces and nephews, and it scared the shit out of me. Because I'm sitting there just thinking, just praying to God, please don't let me die. I'm not ready yet. And
That's a good point, Anthony made, a minute ago about, you know, you can definitely get through these traumas and get, you know, get past them eventually. It does take some work, you know, however you work it. But yeah, I mean, I used to think that the shits that I went through, you know, was like permanent, right? I'd never get over it. Like my
yeah,
past is what it is. It defines who I am, which it does, but it doesn't have to stay with you. You know, you don't have to constantly live in that fear every day. There'll be a time where you'll be able to, you know, see some burnt shit or whatever, and you know, not have that flashback or that PTSD. That's a great point. You know, but, well, with that being said, you guys, I do have to jump off pretty soon here. So
uh,
would anybody like to close out with some parting thoughts?
I mean, I was just gonna add on that. Like, I mean, I work a couple different programs, but I also I suffer with PTSD and bipolar too. In my first year of sobriety, I started working steps. I was on medications for it, and the medications definitely helped while I was going through step work. Because, like Anthony was saying, it really gives you that deep self-reflection if you're thoroughly honest with yourself, right? And all these past situations and traumatic events and all that. Like, I mean, my dad was an alcoholic too. There was some verbal abuse. There was some physical abuse. Nothing that was like steady or ongoing or too crazy, but enough to traumatize a kid, you know. And
Right.
I learned healthy coping mechanisms, you know, to learn how to deal with things, healthy outlets, you know, so I wasn't completely dependent on medications, basically. And then eventually I weaned myself off medications, and those things I used to find unbearable that I would drink and drugs to cope with, like I can cope with those emotions arise, you know, which is not very often the longer I stay doing what I'm doing. But it was definitely a process, you know, and it wasn't easy. But nothing in life that's worthwhile is ever going to be easy, you know. But eventually, you know, I had to quit blaming how I was on everything that's happened and learn how to do something different, you know, like, because all that was doing for me was keeping me in that negative headspace.
Right.
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna cut out recording
Hey,
here.
you need to let me talk